Good people, welcome, 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 welcome. This is LS3 with Medicine Ball. Hold up, let that drop one time. This is Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, then at least your brain should be. That's right, we focusing on giving your brain a six pack, man. And in my show, we talk about mental health illnesses, whether you're diagnosed or just somebody who struggles from depression from time to time or anxiety, or whether you don't have any diagnosis and you just want to give your brain the reps it needs to continue to make it the strongest muscle truly that you have in your body. That's right. We focusing on the least visible but most important muscle that you have, your brain. Today's podcast is entitled MD 5050. MD 5050. We're not talking about MD 2020, which if you went to college around my time, you know what I'm talking about there. But a lot of people ask me, man, they're just like, hey, what's it like to be diagnosed as bipolar? What's it like a day in the life of being someone who's diagnosed as bipolar, dealing with depression and anxiety? Can you kind of let us know? So I'm going to talk about that in our first seg. The second seg, we're going to define what bipolar 1 is and bipolar 2. And I'm going to give you some terms, manic, depressive, um, and give you some information on that. And the third part is for anybody who think they may be suffering from bipolar disorder or any other mental illness disease. And you never felt really comfortable about talking to anybody about it or how to go about it. I'm going to put some insight into that as well, man. So hopefully I can be of help. And again, you could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose to be here with me. And I do not take that lightly. So let's get right into it. MD 5050. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. 3 a.m. in the morning in the dead middle of winter. And I'm awaking out of my sleep and I'm soaking wet. Drenched. Now, normally I make some excuse, or if I wasn't thinking ahead of time, I would be like, man, maybe I need to lose a few pounds. But at this point in my life, I'm running 2 miles a day. I'm in the best shape of my life. Or am I? I started to doubt myself, and I remember. That's right. Night sweats. Another wonderful side effect of this medicine I'm supposed to take for the rest of my life to help me deal with bipolar 1 disorder. I look over. The young lady who stays still asleep, and I remember now it all starts to kick in. I took my medicine at a little bit different of a time tonight because I knew she would be staying. And I didn't want her to see me taking a bunch of pills and start asking questions, and I wasn't ready for that with her. Not yet. Then my anxiety starts to kick in. Oh man, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'm only gonna get 3 more hours of sleep, and what am I gonna do? I did what I would normally do at that time. I rolled over. I rolled a blunt. I smoked the blunt, and I was able to get back to sleep. 6:30 pulls around, a.m. to be exact. I wake up. I gotta get Shorty out of here. I made it through the night. Gotta go ahead and head to this job, which is a damn good job. It just wasn't the job for me. Nevertheless, I do what I have to do, start getting ready for work, and the whole while I'm just hoping. I'm like, man, I hope Manic is with me today. Who is Manic? Who is she? I'll describe her as a she because she makes me feel great. I've had my experiences with drugs, but the manic feeling that I get in my bipolar mood swings is by far the one that I favor the most. See, that feeling is the feeling that makes you feel like whatever your goals are, whatever it is you aspire to do, is totally obtainable. That you got it. You can handle it. You can take on the world. It's like thinking you being late, you're going to be late for work and catching every single green light and there's no accidents. Bam. It's beautiful. In a way, I need her. She keeps me up. Even though I know in the back of my mind that this too is something that's part of this bipolar disorder I've been diagnosed with that can be dangerous if not checked, I ride it out anyway. Who doesn't want to be on something that makes you feel the highest of the highs? Like you could talk to any chick. Like you the freshest guy in the workplace that day. Like you cannot be stopped. Who doesn't want that feeling of feeling motivated, full of energy, spending frivolously, reckless sex encounters? Who doesn't want that feeling from time to time, man? And guess what? She's with me on this morning. I get into work with time to spare, and I must say, I am feeling myself. Work seems to be going by fast. I'm motivated. I'm processing cases at this particular job at an all time fast rate. I'm feeling good. If I can just ride this out, man, I'm unstoppable. I feel like I can juggle multiple things at once. I feel like Thanos. Man, M, as I call her, don't leave me. Don't leave me. And I know that on this particular day, I'm going to be all right. Well, at least in my mind at the moment. As long as D doesn't creep up. Oh man, I shouldn't have spoken into existence. I used the rest of what I have of mania to finish my workout. I'm feeling good. I get back to my desk after showering and eating lunch, and D comes on out of nowhere, stronger than ever. See, D is the complete opposite of M. And boy, he could be mean. And the simplest thing sets me off to where now I'm thinking maybe I didn't run fast enough while I was on the treadmill. Maybe I could have done a few more sit ups. My abs not kicking in the way I want them to. Now, at this point, I'm at work and I'm distracted by the things that typically distract people of my age: social media, Facebook updates, IG posts, things of that nature. But it starts a process of swinging my mood. And I start to pay for being with M earlier in that day. See, those cases that I was processing fast, I'm starting to get IMs from my supervisor, and apparently some of them are incorrect and quite costly. Now I start to doubt myself. Am I good at anything? Am I making enough money? Am I doing what makes me happy? Man, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I find myself being irritated by the smallest things. My neighbor humming a song along while she's working on her work diligently. Something that nowadays wouldn't bother me as much at all, but then, especially when depressive is around, oh my gosh. I make it to the end of the day and something I should be happy about and thankful for turns into more dread as I get ready to think about the traffic I'm going to have to sit in, which in a way is crazy. It's the same traffic I sit in every single day. It's there every single day. Nonetheless, I peel through the parking deck as fast as I possibly can. Skirt! Just to get to the exit, get on the expressway, and sit in that traffic. My ride home is uneventful. Couple of Instagram posts, smoked a blunt, listened to some music, and griped the whole ride home. At this point, I realized the young lady from last night, I didn't text her all day, but it's not her fault. And in retrospect, I feel bad. Nothing personal, baby. I'm just not ready to explain to you about this condition, this mental illness that I have that really has nothing to do with you, but more so with me. Sorry I didn't reach back out. I get home. At this point, I'm all the way agitated, and every little thing gets on my nerve, and I think to myself, man, let me go ahead and take my medicine again, hoping that it can fight off this feeling or help me to cope one more day. Even though I'm in shape, I'm still not eating right. So it's about 30 minutes before the medicine starts making me nauseous. At this point, I'm totally unmotivated. All the plans I had to come home and make a few beats, as I was dealing very heavy with the music, out the window. The motivation that I had to read a book, learn something, do something, to further my goals, to further my dreams, do anything outside of work, that motivation is completely gone. I hop in the bed, after smoking again, of course, and settle down into complacency, man, and lie in my bed and think about this disease and how easy it would be to just give up and how nobody understands. Just swimming around in my own pity, my own sorrow, ultimately making it worse. Wow, that's a big circle. And that's what it is to deal with a bipolar disorder. You're dealing with the opposite ends of the spectrum, but on extremes. I would give anything for manic right then. However, it's not something that I control. And I go to sleep. I wake up. It's 3 o'clock in the middle of the winter, and I'm drenched in sweat. MD 50-50, man. Opposite ends of the spectrum. And that's what a typical day used to be like for me more often than not. More often than not, those were my days. Until I finally decided, hey, man, I have a say so in this. Even though I have this disease and I'm taking this medicine at the time and that these moods are a bit to deal with and extreme, I'm fighting back. I'm going to gain some sense of control over how I think and how my mental mood controls the rest of my day and my outcome. And so here we are today, man. Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. And I'm preaching y'all, if you aren't in shape, then your brain should be. Just give y'all something to think about. So I'm going to let y'all take a look, check this beat out. And when I come back, we're going to talk about what bipolar is. I'm going to define it as well as give you guys some definition and some terms. And we're going to keep it moving. So check this out, and I get back with you. Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. If you ain't in shape, then your brain should always be. Focusing on give your brain a 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack, all of that. That's feel good music right there, man. We gonna get right back into it. All right, man. Bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive illness, is a brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, activity levels, and the ability to carry out day to day tasks. All right? So, bipolar disorder 1, this is actually my diagnosis, and that's defined by manic episodes, and I'm going to define that for you here in a minute here. Manic episodes that last at least 7 days, or by manic symptoms that are so severe that the person needs immediate hospital care. Usually, depressive episodes, which I'm going to define here in a minute as well, occur as well, typically lasting at least 2 weeks. Episodes of depression with mixed features. And here's the thing: you can have depressive and manic symptoms at the same time, man, and that can be overwhelming, man. I've been through it. And the second one I wanted to touch on was bipolar disorder 2, which is defined by, the same depressive and hypomanic episodes, but you don't get the full blown manic episodes that could lead possibly to hospital care, man. So, yeah. So what it is people with bipolar have like periods of intense emotional changes. It can affect your sleep patterns and activity levels. It can have unusual behaviors, but these periods are called moods or episodes or mood episodes, and they're drastically different from the behaviors of what they would call a typical person. They're extreme. So the first one is manic. MD 50/50, man. That's why I named it that. Manic is the first one, depressive is the second one. Manic episodes, man, the way I can explain them is you feel high almost. You have a lot of energy. You have increased activity levels. You can almost feel like wired, like you drank a 5 hour energy or something, but you'll be more active than usual. Um, Sometimes you talk really fast about a lot of different things. You can feel like your thoughts are going very fast. And what I call that is when your mind or your thoughts are racing. So let me pause for a second. When your mind and your thoughts are racing, it's like you can't focus on one thing. Like it's constantly in your mind. You can't control your thoughts. And, I got to get the kids. What am I going to eat? What am I going to do tomorrow? I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to honor. And it's just a racing of thoughts that are going very, very fast. Manic episodes can also cause you to do risky things like spend a lot of money or have reckless sex. And I want to be very careful with how I talk about it because I don't want to use it as a crutch or an excuse to do these things because there is no excuse. So I don't want to use it as a crutch, but man, it can include all those things and not limited to. The other side is depressive, and that's the day and night. Again, MD 50/50. MD is for the manic depressive half and half, which is what I felt like a lot more often than not before I started to take a conscious, grasp of what's going on and take over how I feel mentally. But with the depressive episode, you feel very down or hopelessness. So let me pause right there. Hopelessness is kind of a feeling that whatever relationship or situation or whatever you're going through, there's no way out. And it's not going to be something positive that you're not able to get out of. It's going to be a feeling of being inadequate, subconscious, not worth anything. You might feel like you're of little value, and that depressive episode can cause you to think about death and suicide. You're gonna naturally feel tired and fatigued. Slow down a little bit. You'll feel worried constantly, empty, like you can't enjoy anything. It's gonna mess with your sleep. You're gonna be less motivated, decrease levels of activity. You're gonna feel like you don't have any energy. So that's the opposite. Those are typically the two moods. Now, sometimes, you know, the mood episodes can include both symptoms, which can be very, very overwhelming. I have lived it. And this is called an episode with, like, I guess they call it a mixed feature. So, I mean, imagine feeling sad or empty, but like energized. So imagine being super sad, but like energetic. It can be very confusing, man. And it's always present. One thing you got to know, if you are diagnosed with bipolar, it's always present, even though your mood swings might not be as extreme. They might just be quote unquote normal. But typically during a hypomanic episode, an individual feels like highly productive and feel like you can function well, and that there's nothing wrong. And that could be a dangerous thing because it gives you a false sense of security. And it also, one thing that I didn't like about it and that I still have to deal with is you start to get entitled that you should feel good all the time, and that's not the case. It's not the case. So, it depends on the person, to be honest with you. A lot depends on the type of person you are and your personality. But it also deals with what we talked about previously, and that's your perception. So, to be honest with you, you're perceiving things differently than the average person. So, you might be about to get kicked out of your house or lose your car or something like that, but you'll trick yourself into thinking you got it. You can handle it. And you got to be very aware of that. And I know that's something I'm consciously aware of. Like whenever my highs get too high or I start feeling too energetic or like I can take on the world, I make a conscious effort right there to be like, hold up, bro. Whoa, slow your roll. So, the perception is different. Now, here's the thing, there's a fine line because the first thing that I want to make sure I do not do is make this be an excuse for people who may think that they are diagnosed to go out and do some of these things. Like, I'm not excusing anything. The manic behavior, it feels good, but it's very misleading. And if you don't have a clear understanding of that, you will be sitting up broke with 1,000 Amazon boxes at your front door, wondering what's going on, and you're gonna feel bad about it. So the depressive, it can get really, really deep, man. I remember at some points I wouldn't even shower. You feel what I'm saying? I wouldn't even brush my teeth. I would be feeling so low. And these are not things that I was openly discussing, but there were things that I was aware of. And I catch myself immediately if I see any of these signs and start, you know, it's medicine ball, man. You start working your mind to avoid going down that road. So that's the definition of what bipolar is. And with this thing, comes anxiety. It can also encompass other things, which we'll talk about in later down on in podcasts. Some people self-medicate, which is why some people do use different kind of drugs. Me, weed was my thing. Weed's my thing. You know what I mean? But some people use stronger drugs or different drugs or something to that nature, and it could be really self-medicating and you not knowing what's going on. So if you see these signs in somebody, do not judge them. If you are not a therapist, you don't need to come down on them or make them feel any type of way about it. The best thing you can do is be there and be supportive of them. Have some empathy. They're going through it. The average person couldn't handle those feelings if they wanted to. So be empathetic about it, man, and just try to be there. And, that's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, these are just some things, some definitions and some things that you should know when you're speaking about mental health, and that just goes for anybody who may wonder if they're having some of these symptoms or what to look for in others. Please do not judge others with it, man. And ultimately, like I said, that's why I'm here. I want to give an open forum. I'm somebody who is diagnosed, who's gone through it. I've seen people judge it who don't understand it. I've seen people who may be diagnosed, but because they fear being judged, or because, it takes a lot of courage to step up and be like, hey, I got a problem. I want to do something about it. That's what I'm here for, man. Feel free to ask me anything, man. All right. So those are the definitions, man. The next thing we're going to talk about in the next seg is if you think you are diagnosed, what do you do next? I know a lot of people ask me that. What do you do next? So check this beat out. When we come back, I'm going to let you know some steps to take if you think you may be suffering or you may be diagnosed and you want to take the next step. Other than that, medicine ball with your boy LS3. If you ain't in shape, you already know. At least your brain should be. Let's get it.
Is the future.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Medicine Ball with your boy LS3, man. Welcome back, people. Again, you could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose to be with me, and I do not take that lightly, and I appreciate it. Let's get right into it. Steps to take, man. All right. So, I wanted to just address this. I had a lot of people, and I don't want to seem like I'm exaggerating. Not a lot of people, but I had people reach out to me, and they say, "Hey, I think I might be going through these symptoms. I think I might be dealing with some of these things. What's next, man? Like, I want to do something about it." First of all, I salute you, madam or sir. Sir or madam, I salute you. If you have the courage to step up and recognize that something might not be right with the way that your mood is going, or you might be going through these mood swings and whatnot. And it takes a lot of courage for you to step up, especially in today's day and age where people are criticizing you and picking fun and judging. It takes a lot of courage, man. So the first thing you need to do is recognize that you're an extremely courageous person. And it's dope for you to stand up and be like, yo, I feel some type of way. I think I may be going through this and I want to do something about it. So that's first. Realize that you're a courageous person and follow through. The next thing that I implore you to do is research. Research, but don't over research. Just look at some things, because if you are someone who's going to be diagnosed, and just for today, what we're talking about is bipolar, chances are it's a high chance you're going to have to take some medicines. And when they start you on these medicines, it takes years for these doctors sometimes to get your dosage right and the medicine is right. So when I say research, research the disease, but research the treatment options and the medicines, because the medicines will come with side effects. And to be honest with you, the medicines are a drug. So once you start introducing something into your body that you're going to be planning to take, for most people for the rest of their life, um, if you skip a day, maybe that Medicare didn't work out. Maybe you got fired from your job. These medicines are expensive. You got to know that there's going to be withdrawal. So do research on the medicines. The next thing I implore you to do, and you have to research this as well, is find a good therapist, right? Nothing is better than speaking with somebody who does not judge you, who understands you, and who genuinely wants to help you. Nothing is better when you're going through this, when a lot of times your family may look at you different. And I salute my therapist 110%. My second therapist I found, that man made me feel so comfortable, man. It made it easy to discuss it as an adult, and he implored me to go research the medicines, monitor how I feel, discuss with him. It's important that you research your therapist and get a feel of them, because this is ultimately a person who you're going to have a relationship with for years upon years if things work out. And there's somebody who needs to be able to have a trust built with you. I know that was my biggest issue was when I was looking for therapists and changing therapists, finding somebody who I had that rapport with, somebody who I can say, hey, this medicine doesn't feel like right. Can you maybe tweak it, or maybe can I try something else? And them not judge you or think that you're trying to abuse the system, man. Nothing's worse than thinking you got a medical professional. And this is something that I also want to work on, man, trying to make it a little bit easier for searching for a therapist, because that is an important part. Once you get diagnosed, that's just part of it. You need someone to talk to. And hopefully I can help be that outlet, but you will need someone to talk to who you can discuss your medicines with. Now, for me, I no longer take my medicines, and I did a lot of research before I decided to stop taking them. I did a lot of reading and I did a lot of soul searching to know myself, right? Because that's very important. Different strokes for different folks. This goes back to what we were talking about with perception and dualism and the ability to see that there's more than one or two ways to skin a cat. So you have to know yourself. Some people, it may be better for you to take the medicine. If you're not a person who wants to meditate and read and have your mind be open and put in the work, then in some situations it may be better for you to take your medicine. I personally felt like the medicine dumbed me down in my senses. It did. I wasn't the same person, man. Not only that, the effects of me missing a day of medicine and being sick to my stomach. Like, I've never tried crack or meth or anything like that, but I see all these stories about people going through these withdrawals and being sick to their stomach. I would have to relate. Going a few days without a medicine that you might have been taking for 10 years, I would highly relate it to what those people are describing, feeling nauseous. In those situations, I would even reach out to try to maybe smoke some weed or drink some alcohol, and it still wouldn't even help. So, At the end of the day, it's self check, man. You got to know yourself, and even if you do all of this stuff, you still want to focus every day on being aware of your mental health. These medicines are not cure alls, man. They're not a secret Fortnite potion. You're not going to take these medicines and all of a sudden you're able to control your emotions every day. It does not work like that. It makes them easier to maintain. Okay, I want to be clear about that. You also want to know about the side effects, man. I know the medicines, man. I just could not deal with these night sweats, bro. Like, it was too much for me. The night sweats, and even in certain sexual situations, I used to be like, "Yo, like, what's going on with me and this particular girl without saying too much." But I found out that was another side effect of the medicine. Once I stopped taking the medicine, I didn't have those issues anymore. So every medicine is going to come with some type of side effect. I remember one time I was taking lithium, and like the coating of the pill was just like weird in my throat, and it made me hot. And you got to know yourself, man, and ultimately that's what you want to build to, knowing yourself, knowing that there are alternate routes. Me personally, I know if I decided to stop taking my medicine and every day I didn't focus on where I was at, analyzing my mental and meditating and affirmations and that type of thing, I knew that without me making a dedication to doing that, that it was gonna be a rough, bumpy ride without my medicine. But long story short, the people who are around me the most, I ask them, hey, how have I been this last year or so, without the medicine? How do you see how I'm acting? And it's funny, my dad, I love my dad so much, man. He means so well. I asked him because he was really one of the more critical people, but I felt it was very important. I asked him, and he said normal. But I know he didn't mean it like I wasn't normal, but basically, like, he didn't see anything that would have cued him off to me having an issue, man. So you got to know yourself, man. I don't want anybody to feel like, hey, it's something I can deal with myself. I can smoke my little weed or whatever. But that's something I will talk about down the line. I don't condone anybody doing anything that they don't want to do or supporting anything that they don't support. But as far as anxiety goes, I can honestly say that there are things out there, CBD. There are little things out there that can help you cope without, taking it to an extreme, man. So, and I think another the final thing is, and this is dead honest, and it's something that I still have yet to completely do. Find a group of like-minded people to speak with, man. Find a group of people who understand it, because you know I don't want to relate it to anything else, but it's almost like coming out. If nobody knows, like, I have people to this day, when I tell them about this podcast, they say stuff to me like, I never knew that, my dude. And I was like, exactly, that was by design. I wanted to come off as quote unquote what everyone else would say is normal, so that when I did this podcast, I would be able to speak up and say, hey, look at me. Look what I did. If I can do it, anybody can do it, man. So that's what I want to do. So today, for today's exercise, this week's exercise, y'all didn't think I was gonna leave y'all without an exercise, right? Exercise is very, very, very simple. All right. The exercise we're focusing on is a mindfulness type exercise, but it's basically awareness without reaction. So, what we want to focus on basically is, if you come across something that you don't agree with, or something you don't like, or something that's not in your favor, I want you to make yourself aware of it, entertain it, but not react to it. And what this is doing is helping you get into being aware of situations, your environment, and your mood, and being able to notice things and perceive things without necessarily reacting to it. So it's just an awareness. We'll call it an awareness technique. Whether it be a Facebook post, whether it be the person who sneezes a couple of seats over and then cover their mouth, recognize it, but don't act on it. Just be aware of it, recognize it, but don't act on it. And this is teaching your mind how to be aware and and to entertain things as a thought without necessarily accepting them. And what this will do is it will make you more tolerant. It will make you more patient. Patience is a thing that I've been working on. So let's just call it an awareness drill. Next time somebody might not hold the door open for you or something to that nature, see it, entertain it, but don't react to it. We want to focus on being able to acknowledge things without necessarily reacting to every single thing you acknowledge. And this will open your mind up. It would allow you to think about things before you react, number one. But number two, it gives your chance for your brain to acknowledge things and not necessarily accept them. And the reason I want to have you guys do this is because going forward, I'm going to start helping out with a few meditation techniques and techniques just to kind of quiet your mind. You know, if you have those racing thoughts we were talking about, I want to give you techniques and I want you to start practicing things that are going to later help you to quiet your mind and how to deal with things and accept them and deal with them, but not necessarily react to them and overreact to them. All right? Yo, I hope today was a informative podcast show for you guys. Um, I again appreciate you guys for being with me. I'm gonna start leaving my email and my IG. My IG is the real LS3. So that's TheRealLS3, the number three. You can also reach me on Facebook at the Medicine Ball page, which should be up and running. I'm working on changing my Twitter and getting that together, so you guys can reach out to me as well if you have any questions, anything you want to ask. We got interviews coming up. I'm just getting everything together, and again, man, get your brain a six back. Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. Peace. I love y'all. Be great. I'm out.
LS is the future.